This is Earth, and climate change is affecting every continent on it. But what is climate change? Climate change is described as a change in the average conditions, such as temperature and rainfall, in a region over a long period of time. These include warming temperatures and changes in precipitation, as well as the effects of Earth's warming, such as rising sea levels, shrinking mountain glaciers, ice melting at a faster rate than usual in Greenland, Antarctica, and Arctic, and changes in flower and plant blooming times. Those changes are not natural, they are human made. The United States is the number one leading country in the emission of CO2 by 25.11%. This means that the annual CO2 emissions is equal to 6,677 million metric tons. CO2 emissions trap heat and make our planet warmer, causing greenhouse gases to be trapped, which leads to global warming. Greenhouse gas emissions are caused by transportation, which is 28.2%, electricity, 27%, industry, 22%, agriculture, 10%, commercial, 7%, and residential by 6%. If we look at the type of fuel, we'll find out that the oil is the number one leading CO2 emissions by 43.93%, gas by 30.59%, and coal by 23.8%. This brings us to how global warming has affected ecosystems at the Arctic. Because of global warming, the Arctic Circle's ice surface area is melting every year. Looking at the 2020 data, the overall rate of sea ice decline in September is now 83,700 square kilometers. Within a generation, sea ice is expected to virtually disappear in the summer. However, sea ice is more than a simple platform. It is a complete ecosystem of plankton and microorganisms that supports a rich food chain and nourishes seals, which in turn become prey for polar bears. It is a fundamental and defining feature of the Arctic marine ecosystem. The ecology of the Arctic Circle has been severely damaged because of the yearly increase in temperature. It is becoming increasingly difficult for polar bears to hunt enough food to sustain life. As a result, polar bears are gradually migrating towards human communities and feeding on the garbage produced by humans. It not only dramatically increases the risk of diseases among polar bears, but also increases direct conflicts between polar bears and humans. The melting of the Arctic ice extent is not only severely disrupting the ecological balance of the Arctic Circle, but is also raising the global sea level and accelerating the rate of global warming, further degrading the Earth's environment, for example, in Africa. Africa contributes the least to the global CO2 emissions with a contribution of 3.8% according to the Africa Growth Initiative. Despite its low emissions, Africa remains the most vulnerable to the effects of climate change due to the high dependence on agriculture for food, income, and employment. 23% of sub-Saharan Africa's GDP is from agriculture, and 60% of the population is made up of small-scale farmers. Comparing the climate risk indexes of various countries, countries in the African region are at a higher risk than others. The effects climate change have had on the continent are a great threat to Africa's population and majority of Africa's economic sectors. Due to increasing temperatures in the atmosphere, there has been an increase in melting glaciers, drying rivers, high sea levels, which in turn has caused unpredictable and extreme weather. These extreme weather conditions have further led to drought and desertification in some parts of Africa and floods in others. These effects have directly affected 300 million Africans as of 2018 and are bound to increase in the coming years if no action is taken. Global warming not only destroys ecosystems around the world, but also accelerates the rise in sea level, causing more land area to be swallowed up by the oceans. The melting of the permafrost is releasing hidden viruses in the ice, which also is threatening the lives of humans and animals. If we do not rein in human and industrial practices, the day the Arctic sea ice disappears, we will have unprecedented and existential crisis. Therefore, I encourage small acts of change which can go a long way. You can visit www.greenpeace.org plantoyourchange.com to help save our planet.